All right, are we in there? Never streamed on YouTube, so I'm hoping we're in there. I'm hoping we're good. I'm ready. We got, what, 57 minutes till Bron's last home game in Cleveland. What's up, guys? What's up, Skins? What's up, No Defense? Nathan? Jack? What's up, guys? How's it going? K-Buckets, appreciate that, man. Very kind of you to say. There's a lot of channels out there, so I appreciate you saying that. Dubstep Waffles, my guy. Showing up on Twitch, showing up over here. I'm in Eastern time. Eastern time, so it is a little past 8 o'clock here. A little past 8. Hit me with what you got. Any questions you got, I'm here for them. What's up, King Cobra? What's up, Josh? Appreciate it, Skins. You guys are too kind. Someone asked me earlier today when I was streaming on Twitch, I have the Cavs winning by like 5 or 10 points tonight. I think the Warriors are 4.5-point road favorites, and then I got the Warriors in 5. So that's going to be the plan right now. Who win the championship next year? Endzone Productions. Who win the championship next year? I mean, we can hope, right? Like, we can hope that someone other than the Warriors is going to win, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. I hope it's someone like Boston or Philly just to change things up. Depends on where Bron goes, but hopefully. Billy Bob Montana, where do you think LeBron will go and who we play with? Where would you want to see LeBron? I'd love to see him on the Spurs. Love your channel, by the way. Appreciate it. Lots of parts of that question. So where do I think he's going to go? I talked about this in a video a little while ago, the Free Agent Friday. If I had to pick right now, I would say the Lakers like I did then. But once Cleveland won the East, it made me think a little bit more about him going to Philly to keep the final streak alive. But then the Jerry Colangelo like burner account stuff happened. So I still have no idea about Philly. So I would still say right now, I'm going to go with the Lakers. If I was a betting man and I had to put money on it, I would say the Lakers. How many more Sean Weddle says, how many more championships are the Warriors winning? It's tough. I mean, I originally, like when KD got there, I kind of looked at it thinking maybe like 2020 or 2021 was going to be the summer when they were going to have to break everything up because of the salary cap issues and the amount of luxury tax they'd have to pay. And it's still going to be a ton. But now with Clay taking less money potentially and KD having already taken less money, which is actually what tomorrow's video is going to be about, all those guys could retire with that team. I mean, I think if someone's eventually going to leave, it's probably going to be Draymond just because a lot of the things that he does defensively, to me, Kevin Durant can do when he's engaged with his length, his ability to protect the rim, his ability to play the 5. He's not as good of a defender strength-wise, but he can do a lot of the things that Draymond can. So I think if someone's going to leave eventually, that's probably who it's going to be. But realistically, I mean, unless something crazy happens with the Rockets this summer, which it doesn't look like it's going to be Bron. It looks like it's probably going to be Paul George if they do get somebody on the wing. I mean, who knows? I mean, unless Boston or Philly really breaks out, the Warriors might be. I mean, they probably should be at this point 4 consecutive NBA championships. That they should have won that Game 7 that year if Kyrie doesn't hit that shot. We could be looking at 4 straight. So that's kind of what tomorrow's video is going to be about. The greatest, Dubstep Waffle says, who's the greatest prospect I've ever seen? It's a good question. I mean, I'll break it down like this because I've seen a lot of guys go into the draft. But in person, I'm originally from North Carolina, and Dennis Smith, I told you guys, is my guy. I've seen Dennis Smith play so many times in person. Big shout out NC State. But also, I saw Brandon Ingram play when he was a sophomore and a junior in high school because he's from North Carolina. Him and Jerry Stackhouse went to the same high school. And I didn't think he was very good. I will fully admit that I saw him as a sophomore, more so as a sophomore. Junior, you could start to see it. As a sophomore, I swear on my life, he was like 6'8", like 160 pounds. Brandon Ingram was so skinny, and he didn't have like a lot of guard skill. So I really didn't think he was that good. Obviously, he ended up being really good. But as far as the best prospect I've ever seen, I mean, there's so many guys. It's kind of hard to narrow it down in terms of guys going into the draft. Endzone Productions, who will the Suns draft first overall? Not going to spoil my own mock draft that I'm hoping to get out here within the next week and a half. But I'm Team Luka for sure. I am all about Luka Doncic. So if it was me, that's who I would pick. Kyle says, who do you think will be the biggest steal, I'm assuming, in the draft? And since I'm a Nets fan, who should the Nets draft? I'm also a Nets fan. Reason being, I'll explain later. I haven't really looked. Someone else asked me the other day, too. They said, who do I think the Spurs are going to draft? I haven't really looked that late into the draft with the exception of like the Jazz when I did the offseason video for them. I haven't really looked that far. But for the Nets, I mean, it's just about getting the best guys that they can. I mean, I really like Jared Allen. I'm on the fence about D'Angelo Russell. I mean, I think he's good. I just don't know how good really he's going to be. And obviously he struggles defensively. So I think it's still very much a best player available kind of deal for them. Big W for being a Nets fan. It's a tough life. And I told someone this on Twitch the other day when I was streaming Fortnite, twitch.tv/sportinglogically_in-between, where the reason I'm a Nets fan is because when I was like 7 or 8 years old, when I first started getting into basketball, I had NBA courtside for the GameCube. And that was right around the time when the Nets made, I think they made 2 consecutive finals, right? Like they played the Spurs and the Lakers and got crushed both times. And I loved those teams. And later on, they obviously had Jason Kidd at the time, and then they ended up with Richard Jefferson and Vince Carter and Kenyon Martin. And I loved those teams. Like that was what got me into basketball. The Hornets were okay. Throughout my lifetime, they've been okay. But the Nets have always been my team. Vince Carter has always been one of my favorite players of all time. And NBA courtside was my jam. That was my game. So that was really what got me into basketball, got me into the NBA. And that's why I'm a Nets fan. Arthur says, who do the Bucks need to get to keep Giannis happy and stay? I don't know if you're also the one that commented that on the community page, because I know someone did. I just didn't get a chance to respond. It's interesting because I think they have plenty of time, right? They have Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton, I believe, are both summer of 2020 guys because Chris Middleton has a player option for the following year. And then I think Giannis is the year after that. So I think Giannis is still on a contract for another 3 years, which would be 2021. So they have time. I don't know. Like they're in such a weird spot. They're one of the more expensive teams in the league. And you could make the case, you know, like I've talked about, where if they win that Boston series, maybe they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, they took them to 7, and obviously that's what Cleveland did as well, and they ended up being in the finals. So it's just hard to tell with the Bucks team. I think the Eric Bledsoe thing was a mistake. I think they have so many bad contracts with Delly. John Henson's not a bad player, but he's not a $12 million a year guy. Malcolm Brogdon had a great rookie year. He's kind of hurt his second year. It's going to be tough for them to really make the kind of moves that they need to make to get, the right pieces in to keep Giannis happy. Now, I will say that it seems like he is happy. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of dissent, between him and the team, but that can change pretty quickly. So I don't know. It's going to be tough for them to try and find someone to bring in to really give them a boost if Jabari Parker is not going to be that guy. Nicholas, who is my guy, you are always commenting. I showed your comment in yesterday's video talking about the mock draft. You are on top of it. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much for the support. Nicholas says, how would you build a team to beat the Warriors? Can any team do it next season? I think a team already should have done it this year, and that's the Houston Rockets. Obviously, if Chris Paul getting hurt doesn't help, but I think they have the blueprint. And I don't even mean shooting as many threes as they did. It's having guys like PJ Tucker and Trevor Ariza and just switching all those things, and Clint Capella. Like, it's always been the thing, right, with this group, this Warriors team, that the 5 spot is where you can really take advantage of some of their weaknesses. But that guy's got to be able to guard in ball screens. And that is why the Thunder almost beat them before KD got there, because Serge Ibaka and Steven Adams were able to stay with those guys in ball screens, whether they trapped Steph Curry or they stayed with them. So that 5 spot is the biggest deal. So I would say you need a guy like Clint Capella that's going to run the floor, that can, hang with guys on the perimeter, either on switches or just hedging ball screens. You need a lot of wings, a ton of wings, which is, I think, kind of what Boston's been looking at doing, and just being able to switch all those things. Because the thing is, if you really want to get into it, if Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are setting back screens, down screens, cross screens, you have to switch. You don't have a choice, because if they get open just a little bit, like if you try and play through and you trail or you try and shoot the gap, they get open a little bit, it's like a 60% shot. Like, you have to stay with them. You have to switch. So you have to have all those wings. So that's what I would do. Obviously, you need stars to be able to score the ball, but you need a lot of wings, and you need at least 1 or 2 5-men that can move their feet, or play super small, put PJ Tucker at the 5 like the Rockets did. Mehmet says, what do you think? Are Warriors or super teams good or bad for the league? Also kind of what tomorrow's video is about. Good or bad for the league is kind of up in the air because I think it brings a lot of interest. Teams being that good, I think the Warriors pre-KD and current team brings a lot of interest to the league. But it's just, if the finals, which you would imagine is supposed to be like the culmination of the entire season, it's supposed to be the biggest event. If you're, making the analogy to like the Super Bowl, it's supposed to be the biggest event. And when you know who's going to win before it even starts, it just creates a very big issue. Now, the good thing about the NBA is it doesn't rely as much on the postseason as some other sports do, because the regular season, although it's long, is very entertaining whether the teams are good or not. The players are good, and there's so many other things you can follow: trades, free agency, guys getting upset, trade requests, big performances, that super teams don't bring it down as much. But that kind of dominance for an extended period of time is certainly not good. So I'm hoping that someone kind of comes out of that at some point and at least makes a competitive final series for the first time in, if you're excluding, the first two, first time in 3 years, really, we've had a competitive final series. Gaming God says, Free Agent Friday with a question mark. I made a little community post about this last week. I apologize, guys, if I'm missing some of your questions. I'm going to get to them, I promise. I'm trying to read them. The rate at which I was putting out videos, all of last month wasn't all that sustainable, right? So putting out 5 videos a week was something I was able to do because I was working all of the time, right? Like on the weekends, I was planning stuff out and then I was editing every single day. And I loved doing the weekly series, and then I cut it down to 4 videos a week, and it wasn't a sustainable way for me to put out content. So Free Agent Friday, Trade Machine Tuesday, the off-season rebuilding videos, they're still here. It's just not going to be every week. It's just not going to be able to happen. Me being able to settle into a 3 to 4 videos a week, not consecutively, settling into that schedule, it's just going to work a lot better for me. It's going to make my job a little bit easier in terms of making videos that I enjoy, and it's going to allow me to put more time into those videos and be passionate about them and make content that I enjoy. I appreciate all the I'll turn it up. I appreciate the all the interest in the weekly series, though. The fact that you guys are looking forward to weekly series means that I'm doing something right, and I do appreciate that. He said, oh, I've been looking for your videos. Yeah, I don't know how the community post thing works. Like, I don't know if it always sends a notification. YouTube notifications can be weird. I know that people that I know that have subscribed to the channel that I know personally, sometimes they get notifications, sometimes they don't. So if you're not completely updated on that, I apologize. Dr. Bops, I guess, says college with a question mark, and I don't know exactly what that means. If you're asking me where I went to school, I went to NC State. I'll always shout that out. If you're asking me about doing content for college basketball, probably not going to happen. NCAA does not like it when you use the video, which is why I use 2K video if I'm talking about draft prospects. Gaming God, I appreciate the subscription, bud. I appreciate it. Thank you. Jack says, would you be in favor of new franchises for example, Vancouver? It's a good question. Expansion's not something I've thought about a ton just because I feel like the league is pretty healthy. That's a good question. I think Seattle deserves a team, like most people, but beyond that, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, more teams would probably be a good thing. Yeah. You don't have a first name, last name, Shideler. I still do Twitch. I just felt like this was a little bit easier to kind of get more people involved. I think I'm up to maybe like 40, 45 followers on Twitch, and just doing it on YouTube. If I'm not gaming, right? Like on Twitch, I'm gaming, I'm playing Fortnite. Over here, if I'm just going to do a Q&A, doing it over here, it works a little bit better. Kyle says, did you create the new logo? I did not. I have gotten good feedback on it, though. I'm glad people like it. Also, intro coming soon. I used a third-party website to have someone create the logo for me, someone that's very good at graphic design. And I'm not going to shout them out just because I don't know how YouTube would feel about that. I can do plenty of stuff, thumbnail stuff, graphic design stuff, but I wanted the logo to look as professional as possible. So no, I did not make it. Endzone says, do you like the new Nuggets logo? Someone told me that they had a new one, and I don't know which one is the new one. Because I like, when you look them up on Google, some of them are, you know, things that people have made, and I don't know if they're new or not. Didn't they just come out with new jerseys too? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Dubstep says, is uploading in college difficult? I'm actually not in college anymore. I graduated from NC State last May. I did do some YouTube stuff in college, but not at this rate at all. So I would say it's pretty difficult, but quick YouTube tip. I know that I've had plenty of people comment saying, hey, like, I'm interested in getting into doing YouTube, whether it be NBA or otherwise. Go to school. Like, please. I mean, I know that there are plenty of people that they didn't go to school and they had a successful YouTube channel in high school, and then they just didn't go to college and it worked out fine. I don't think Jesser went to school. I'm pretty sure, I think B-Souls also is going to school, but I think he maybe considered not. Go to school. Like, YouTube, I could literally wake up tomorrow and YouTube could be like, monetization's not a thing anymore. And if I don't have a degree, I don't have as easy of a path to, you know, a better life, right? So if you're going to do NBA YouTube or YouTube in general, that's an awesome goal to have. It's an awesome thing to be able to do, and I'm very thankful to be able to do it. But I'm also very, very thankful that I have a degree to fall back on if I need to. Jack Norton, I apologize. I don't know how YouTube Super Chat works. It says 99 cents. If that's a donation, my man, I appreciate it. If it's not a donation, again, I don't know how this works. But if it is, my man, I appreciate it. Thank you. The Hat Trick Gamer, hey Tucker, I'm a Raptors fan. Do you think any team would take the Serge Ibaka contract in compensation for receiving Norman Powell? Norman Powell is weird, man. Like, I didn't really follow like his contract situation. Maybe you can tell me. He was good, I believe, I guess as a rookie. And then like all of a sudden he's making $10 million a year for the next like 4 years. But he was good, and it's just a weird situation how guys can have good rookie years and then all of a sudden kind of fall off a little bit. It depends. Like, salary dumps are just not as easy as they used to. And if you're using Norman Powell as, you know, the asset you're going to get in return, I mean, that's like $29 million if I have Serge Ibaka's contract right in my mind. And there's just not a lot of teams that have $29 million laying around. The Raptors are in a very tough spot. Their GM's awesome. I think their GM's really good. Whether, you know, it actually is equated to a ton of postseason success. He's done a great job of building in that circumstance. But he's got a tough job ahead of him. I don't know if there's a trade out there. Jack, it was a donation. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was not an expectation, but I really appreciate it. Thank you, my man. What is the Thunder future with or without Paul George? I feel like I've talked a ton about the Thunder, but people continue to want me to talk about it. They're screwed. Sorry, if you're a Thunder fan, I'm sorry to say that bluntly. With or without Paul. Okay, so let's say they re-sign Paul George by some miracle, in my opinion. They're going to be paying, I'm pretty sure their payroll is like $150 million plus, which is an obnoxious amount over what is probably an $120 million luxury tax line next year. That's so much money to pay for a team that's not, in all likelihood, making the Western Conference Finals. Okay? Paul George doesn't come back. You're still over the luxury tax, and you're still not making the Western Conference Finals. And you have all these, you know, pretty good players and a pretty good team, but it's just, you're not going anywhere. They took a big swing, and I respect them for it. Like, they took a big swing trying to get Paul George and Melo and Russ on the same team. It didn't work out. And beyond trading Russ, which is a pretty unrealistic expectation, both of the franchise as well as of finding an actual trade, I don't know. It's tough. Someone explain this to me. Okay, so Lance Osborne says, hey guys, it's scarce here. Someone else, and at least one other person, has said something like that. And I looked up who Scarce is because I don't know if it's someone I should know who they are. Didn't know who they were. I don't look like him, in my opinion. You guys can say I do. That's fine. It's your opinion. I don't look like him. Should the Celtics trade for Mo Bamba? I have seen that rumor so much. I'm not a Mo Bamba guy. I'm not very high on him. I have other bigs that I'm higher on. Again, y'all's opinion. You can like whoever draft prospects you want. I don't know. I think Mo Bamba's overrated. I think in terms of playoff success, like I think that he could be a really good regular season player, but the comparison I would give is think about how good Rudy Gobert is, right? Think about how good of a defender Rudy Gobert is and how valuable he is to that team. Okay, let's say Mo Bamba becomes Rudy Gobert defensively. Okay, we'll leave the offense stuff out of the way. In the playoffs, when the Jazz play the Rockets, the Warriors, Rudy Gobert, when he's on the floor, they're worse. They're worse with Rudy Gobert on the floor because he can't guard in ball screens. He can't defend these high pick and rolls. He can't defend these spread offenses. He needs to be in the paint and protect the rim. That's great against the Thunder. They have guys that can't shoot. Russ just keeps going in there and throwing it up. They win the first round series. They play the Rockets. He's a liability. So if you're thinking about Mo Bamba as this big defensive difference maker, I have question marks about his ability to move his feet in ball screens and defend. Probably going to be a great rim protector. And I don't care about his full court or three-quarter court speed. He's got to be able to move his feet in ball screens. Not that big on Mo Bamba. Arthur says, what days do you stream on Twitch? I'm trying to figure that out. Again, it's just not a super consistent thing for me right now. Just I've got to kind of figure out a schedule. It works a lot better, obviously, if I'm more consistent. I try and play Fortnite over there just to kind of give something in the background because obviously that's longer. This being only like an hour, it's easier for me to just sit here and talk. But for right now, the plan is, at least once or twice over the weekends, probably more in the evening past like 5 Eastern, and then one time during the week. I can nail that down a little bit further and let you guys know, but it's still something I'm kind of playing around with. Matthew says, do you stream 2K? I'll be honest, I've played all of like 5 hours of 2K18, which is ridiculous for me because 2K17, 2K16, I put so much time into those games. And I was really good at 2K17. I'm just going to let you know. I was super into my team. I wasn't spending money, but I was super into the auction house and my team and all that stuff. And had I been streaming then, I probably would have. I just haven't played a ton of 2K18. I just didn't like it that much. And hopefully I get into 2K19 and I would absolutely stream that stuff. Things I'm looking forward to streaming-wise, I still play Fortnite, just trying to get better. I actually played a lot of Call of Duty World War II. Shockingly, I hadn't been into Call of Duty in a while, so I'm excited for Black Ops 4. Hopefully stream that in the future. Not on this channel. This will just be strictly basketball stuff, but on Twitch, hopefully. Kyle says, thoughts on the Holy Savior... thoughts on Holy Savior Sean Marks. Big shout out. Anybody not named Billy King that wants to be the general manager, big shout out. Love me some Sean Marks. Love me some Sean Marks. Success in Progress says, how would Ben Simmons and LeBron James fit? I did a little bit. I feel like I've talked about this a couple of times. It's questionable. There's rumors that Bron would be okay playing off the ball a little bit more and Ben Simmons would have the ball in his hands. I think it's going to limit the effectiveness of both of them trying to learn how to play together. I mean, at times in Miami, Dwayne Wade's inability to shoot threes on a consistent basis made it a little bit of a weird partnership. And Ben Simmons' ability to shoot threes compared to Dwayne Wade's is, very, very, there's a huge difference. So, I don't know. I would say probably not an ideal fit. Boomer Sooner says, will David Griffin be the Sixers GM? Someone give my man Sam Hinkie another shot. Please. I don't care if it's the Sixers. But give him another shot. Jerry Colangelo, is that even Jerry? I get them mixed up. Colangelo, right? The guy that just got canned. Someone give me, apart from like signing Ilyasova and Bellinelli midseason, someone give me a positive move he made as a GM. Oh, wait. Brian. I get them confused. Brian Colangelo. I apologize. I get them confused. I'm not trying to insult the man. I get them confused. Knicks future. Josh Tybell says Knicks. Says Knicks future and also says LeBron to the Knicks. Talked about this a little bit on Twitch the other day as well. The Knicks are always going to be a free agent destination, right? Like they're always going to be in the conversation. I think they're probably more trade oriented in terms of bringing in someone else than anything else. I don't think Bron's going to go there. I think it's LA, Philly, not Houston. At this point, it doesn't seem like Houston is A, interested or B, able to even make it happen. So I would say LA, Philly, and maybe some random team that we don't know about yet. I would say probably not to the Knicks, bud. Russell Westbrook, obviously not the real Russell Westbrook, says, how would you feel about this trade? Bucks would get Kawhi Leonard. Spurs would get Jabari Parker in a sign and trade, Malcolm Brogdon, and probably a first-round pick. The way I feel about that Kawhi trade is the way I feel about every Kawhi trade. It's not going to happen. I appreciate the effort that you put into trying to find a deal. Spurs aren't trading him. In terms of that deal, it would take more, right? Like if realistically they were actually looking to trade him, I would say it would take more than that. Very valuable player, and they're not just going to... I'm not saying that's giving him away, but they're going to do everything they can to keep him. I do not know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. Says, what do the Cavs need to do to keep LeBron? Win the finals. Somehow trade for an all-star caliber player. And I don't know. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. I do have the Cavs winning tonight. Warriors in 5. I would love to know what the odds are on the Cavs winning the series. I'd love to know what it's got to be like plus a million. But I don't think they can keep him. I think he's done. It's just not going to happen. That's just me, though. Who should the Spurs go after in free agency? I haven't looked a ton at us, and that was... I'm sorry, I want to shout out your name. Chewy Suarez Gaming. Big shout out. Who should the Spurs go after in free agency? I haven't looked a ton at the Spurs in terms of their cap and guys they could go get. I would imagine they don't have very much salary cap space, but there's some interesting like mid-level guys out there because there's not as much cap space. So, I mean, guys like Avery Bradley and Will Barton and Trevor Ariza, like there's some mid-level exception guys, as long as you're not over the tax, that you might be able to get for like 3 years, $24 million, you know? So maybe someone like that would be good for them. I think they need a little bit more help on the wings in terms of defense. When Kyle Anderson's your primary option to guard LeBron, obviously Kawhi being hurt doesn't help. But when Kyle Anderson's your primary defender on LeBron James, you'd probably need a little bit more wing depth. Kyle says, have you ever watched Bleacher Report's Game of Zones? I have not. I always get the notification, and I have never watched a single episode. Excuse me. Mehmet says, 538 has Cavs with a 1% chance to come back and win the series. Not a big surprise there. I want to know, like, the Vegas odds. I want to know how much you would have to, like, what it would be to parlay them winning games 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's what I want to know. Do you think... Iman, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Iman says, do you think SVG will coach next? Maybe, do I think he's going to coach or where? Stan Van Gundy. I love Stan Van Gundy in the booth, and I heard on a podcast the other day, I can't remember whose it was, that since his brother is obviously no longer coaching, ESPN needs to put them in the booth together. Mark Jackson, he's fine, but I think it would be hilarious if they both were in the booth together. He's been out for so long, right? Like, I know he gets looks sometimes, but I will say that if Kenny Smith can get looks for coaching, then yeah, SVG can probably get some looks as well. Brian Scalabrini's name keeps getting spammed. So Success in Progress says, LOL, Marvin Bagley says he can go number 1. I did see the other day that DeAndre Ayton said he's going to work out for the Suns and that's it. It's a ballsy play. It's a risky play. Like, I mean, I get the idea, right? But I really don't think it's a guarantee he's going to go number 1. So he maybe should try out for some other teams. Vegas odds at plus 6,500 to win the series. Oh my gosh. I mean, I knew it's going to be bad, but do I think Bagley's overrated? That's from Lance Osborne. Deep breaths, fellas. Deep breaths. I don't want to offend anyone, and it's not like a Duke NC State bias. I don't think Marvin Bagley's very good. And he's a great athlete. I think in college he should have been playing on 11-foot rims because I was afraid he was going to hurt himself. But as an NBA player, I don't think he's skilled enough to be a 4. And I think best case scenario is a 5. Someone can record this and throw it in my face later. I think best case scenario is a 5. He is a more skilled offensively version of DeAndre Jordan. I like Wendell Carter Jr. better. My opinion, far from an expert. Roast me if you want. Blake Thomas says, "Are you a fan of the process?" I'm a blow it up guy. Obviously I'm not actually in the shoes of any of these guys as a GM, and to be able to say this, and there's obviously repercussions in terms of revenue and fan interest. But if you're looking at it strictly from a basketball standpoint, if you're a mediocre team, there's no reason for you to continue to be mediocre. You should blow it up, tank if you want. I don't care. The league is made, regardless of the new lottery odds, the league is literally made for teams to blow it up. I'm a blow it up guy. I'm a fan of the process. Until the league decides to do something else about it, I will be as shameless as possible about losing games on purpose to get picks. I'm a blow it up guy. That's just me. Brian Kelly says, "Do you think the Kings will ever be good again?" We can all hope, can't we? Because those Kings teams were fun, man. Like Andy Hoops did such a good video on those old Kings teams, you know, Chris Webber and things like that. We can hope. We can only hope, man. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but law of averages says eventually, yeah, it's going to happen. End zone. Will LiAngelo Ball play in the NBA? No, he won't. Matthew Mahoney says, "Concerns about Colin Sexton's height." Fun fact, this time last summer, and I could go again this summer if I want, I worked at Alabama basketball camps, like summer camps. Like they do camps for kids, and they have like their college players there, like working out. And I saw Colin Sexton. This is prior to his freshman year, so this is last summer. And he was an absolute beast. Obviously, he's very good. I will say, however, he's not 6'4". I know that there's been like videos about this. It's his hair. The man's legitimately 6'1", as you said, concerned about his height. I like Colin Sexton. I'm a little concerned he might not be able to get a very good jump shot, and he's turned into Eric Bledsoe. But if he can improve his jumper, I really like him as a competitor. I like him as a player, and I think he can do good things. Madness with a Twist, I will react to your question. Says, if Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving stay healthy next year, will they have a shot at taking the East? I think they're the favorites in the East. Unless Bron goes to Philly, then you could say it's a toss-up. But I think Boston's the favorites in the East next year right now. I did see an article today on The Ringer. There's no way it's going to happen. But the case was being made that the Celtics could trade Marcus Morris, Gordon Hayward, and a first-round pick for LeBron. Now, it's not going to happen because Kyrie's on the team, and Kyrie left Cleveland in large part to get away from Bron. Excuse me. But the Gordon Hayward trading thing, if Danny Ainge was not Danny Ainge and he wasn't the Boston Celtics and he didn't have the history that he does, nobody would ever consider Gordon Hayward being traded, right? But because it's Danny Ainge, it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to run it back with the guys they have. May or may not move up in the draft. The Marcus Smart thing is interesting to me. I've said before, if it was me, I would let Marcus Smart walk, bring back Terry Rozier as my guard off the bench next year. And if he's too expensive, he continues to play well, I'll trade him or I'll draft his replacement with the draft picks they still have. Iman says, "Did you ever play basketball in high school?" I did. Here in North Carolina, I played basketball in high school. Played on a public school team where if you were 6'4" taller, which I am, I'm 6'4", you were a big guy. So I played as a big guy. So I did play in high school. Did not play in college though. Trent says, what's the best case and most likely scenario for the Cavs after the season? Also, if I missed your question, bud, I apologize. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'll read it eventually. Best case, worst case. I think there's really only one case. Bron leaves. That's a given. I'd like to see them, honestly, personally, I'd like to see them try and make some moves, run it back, keep Kevin Love on the roster, use the 8th pick. It's unfortunate that the draft is before free agency, so their pick would obviously change. I would probably have them getting, a pretty good wing. But depending on whether Bron is or is not there, would obviously change their draft pick. But I would say right now, best case, again, assuming Bron leaves, best case, they get a pretty good draft pick. They run it back with that group and they make the playoffs. Best case, worst case, Bron leaves. Their pick is, a bum and they win 30 games next year. Or they trade everyone away and intentionally lose. Steven Rexroad, my guy. Appreciate it. Endzone says, should the NBA do 1 through 16 playoff seeding? Yes, please. I want to be watching the Rockets Warriors right now. I don't want to watch the Cavs get pummeled. I want to watch a competitive series. Please, just do it. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, in the last 4 years, probably would have had 10 teams in the West make the playoffs and 6 on average every year. But please, I'm all about it. Give me something different. Russell Westbrook, not the real Russell Westbrook, says, is it worth the Rockets blowing up their bench and not re-signing Clint Capella just to get Bron? No, it's not worth it. It's not going to happen, clearly. Like, they've already pretty much decided that they're not going to try and get Bron. If it was me, I wouldn't do it. I know that Bron is Bron, but in my opinion, they were the best team in the league this year. They should have won the West. They should have beat the Warriors. Injuries prevented them from doing that, as well as some ridiculously low shot-making numbers. But I would run it back. If you have a chance to get PG, depending on how the salary numbers work out, maybe, but it's all going to depend on what they're able to bring Clint Capella back on, and if they can walk Chris Paul off the ledge of asking for a 5-year max deal at 33 years old. That's a lot. Nicholas says, should the NBA make the season longer in order to keep players from resting as much, maybe preventing injuries too? That's it's going to be a pretty common theme, you know, for the next couple of years. And I think one of two things are going to happen. Either the league is going to just continue to be okay with guys resting. Obviously, they've made some measures to try and have guys not intentionally rest, but they're mostly just PC things. So they're either just going to continue to be okay with it, or there's going to be some pretty big reform. And I would like to see a shorter regular season, just because if you get to the point where your season is so long that teams are intentionally finding a way to work around the length of it, then it's too long, right? Like, I would like to see at least a 70-game reduction, like down to 70 games would be what I would like to see. Chewy says, you think the Pelicans can be a big threat to the Warriors if they have a good free agency? I don't know how a good free agency would be qualified, because to my knowledge, they don't have a ton of room to make it happen. The Boogie thing's up in the air. They're interesting for a couple of reasons. One, they played really well in the playoffs without Boogie, but you would imagine that they would still like to have him back and just kind of figure things out once they already have him, right? I would say no. I think the only threat to the Warriors next season, the following, are going to either be the Rockets, the Celtics potentially, depending on the growth of young players, as well as the health of Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, and wherever LeBron James plays. Those are pretty much the threats. I wouldn't put the Pelicans in that category. Nathan says, favorite NBA writer? It's a good question. I read The Ringer a good amount. I read a lot of stuff, to be honest. I read, Yahoo a good amount, lots of stuff on Twitter. I just like The Ringer because a lot of their stuff is just a little bit different, right? Like, it's not the same repeated stuff over and over and over that a lot of other sites have. I like Kevin O'Connor. I like his writing, as well as listening to when he appears on podcasts. So I would probably say Kevin O'Connor. Brian Kelly says, is Jaren Jackson legit? I've commented this in the past. I think Jaren Jackson is a 2018 version of Chris Bosh in a good way. I think that he's a perfect big guy. I say big guy in parentheses, or in quotations. I think he's a perfect big man for the modern league. I think that he can shoot the ball really well, very versatile defender, can move his feet, and he's not super well developed skill-wise. And Michigan State, obviously, he didn't have a chance to really show a ton, but I think with proper development, he's one of my favorite guys on the draft. Nathan, you like KOC? Yeah, KOC's my guy. Says, I'm trying to, hold on. B-Ball for Life says, I just subscribed and joined. Who you got winning tonight? I have the Cavs winning tonight. Warriors in 5, though. Warriors in 5. Who do I think will be the Raptors' new coach? I think, weren't they planning on just moving up the top assistant? I forget the guy's name. But apparently he got a lot of credit for reforming their offense and things like that in the last couple of years, or this past year, excuse me. I can't remember his name, but I would imagine that would be who it would be. Matthew says, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the best point guard in the draft? I would say no, but I do like him a lot. I like him because of his length, and I like his progression throughout the year from kind of trying to figure it out in the beginning of the year to a pretty big contributor later in the year. But I would say no, probably not the best point guard in the draft. Billy Bob Montana says, who is the heir to LeBron's throne? Giannis, question mark? I'm assuming KD's excluded because, I mean, he's not old, but you could probably put them in the same, like, era, generation. That's tough, man, because injuries can really affect things. Yeah, I mean, if I will say this, if Giannis or Ben Simmons ever become a league average 3-point shooter, then we should all run away. All the other teams should just quit because they're going to be two of the most dominant players the modern NBA has ever seen if they can just become league average 3-point shooters. I would say one of those two guys, personally. Joel says, I think Jason Tatum is the next LeBron. I will say this, Jason Tatum played a lot better this year, especially in the postseason, than I thought that he would. He impressed me a lot. And I actually remember watching him when he played like Team USA, like under 18 games, and wasn't that impressed with his skill, which obviously is one of the bigger things, one of the bigger positives about him now. But I was super impressed with his athleticism. Like he was jumping out of the gym. And like Harry Giles was on that. Like they had a lot of really good under 18, maybe it was under 20. It was under 18 players. Next, LeBron. It's pretty tough, but I think you could make the case that next season he could be their primary wing option, even with Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown on the team. I think that's realistic. Success in Progress says, Cavs Warriors starting in 15 minutes. What are you doing here? I am answering questions for the next 15 minutes, my dude. I am going to hop on, but they're going to take 15 minutes before the game actually starts, so we'll be fine. Mr. Woods. Appreciate it, man. There's a lot of NBA YouTubers out there. There's a lot of talented people on this platform. So I do appreciate that. One quick question I have for you guys, though. I've asked this in Twitch streams before. Who else do you guys watch? I'm just curious. I don't watch a ton of other NBA YouTubers for a number of reasons, but I'm curious who else you guys watch. And on that topic, Brian Kelly says, do you like Mike Korzemba? I will fully admit that he was the first NBA YouTuber that I watched. I didn't really watch YouTube a ton as an entertainment source until like, I would say like 2.5 years ago. I just watched YouTube to like learn things, right? Like whether it was tutorials, I needed help with something, I would look it up on YouTube, but I wouldn't watch it for entertainment. And actually Laserbeam, believe it or not, if you guys watch Laserbeam, Australian guy does Let's Plays. His like Madden challenge videos for some reason really got my attention. So I started watching him do lots of Let's Plays. And then I just started going to other guys, Jacksepticeye, people like that, right? And then eventually Korzemba popped up into my recommended. And he's definitely the first NBA guy that I've watched. The first NBA guy that I watched. And then I kind of moved on from it. I think he's very good at what he does. And I'm not going to say anything negative about him. I would just say that his presentation style to me can wear on me a little bit. And hearing his voice the same way all the time can wear on me a bit. But he's really good at what he does, obviously. And I have no issues with him. So Funky, I just followed Funky on Twitter, actually, because someone mentioned him on Twitch stream the other day. And he's a pretty interesting dude. His videos they're almost like podcasts. But, I mean, that's fine. It's a cool format. Who else? Jimmy High Roll, that's a common one. Korzemba in the lab. Dime Drop, High Roller, Funky. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. I can spell it like Rain Man. Oh, there we go. Rain Man TNT 42 says, Tucker, I did want to say I think you're the best NBA YouTuber out there. Korzemba is close, but you got it. There's also MDJ and KOT4Q, if I'm even saying that right, Lord, are behind you as well. Like I said, there's so many talented people on this platform, so for you to say that, it really does mean a lot. I do appreciate that. I've heard of MDJ. I've heard of Funky that you used to talk about, High Roller. The other guy you mentioned, Rayman, I've never seen his name. I don't know. My favorite guy right now, Endzone says Austin Sweat. Sweet Sweat. I've seen him a little bit. My favorite guy is Andy. I think Andy's awesome. Fun fact, at the time that I originally started my YouTube channel, before I even had, 45, 50 subscribers, Andy and I both had less than 100, and he commented on one of my videos titled, "What kind of NBA MVP voter are you?" And then I kind of talked back and forth a little bit, and then he obviously had the Ridiculous Heights video that took off, and he just really took off. But he clearly puts a lot of time into his videos, and the presentation style is very good. Andy would be my favorite right now in terms of guys that I watch. I need to try and DM him on Twitter, because I think it'd be cool to do a Twitch stream on Fortnite and have like him and like Hoops Reference and myself play some Fortnite together. I think that would be cool. Dom2K, Clay Allen. I haven't watched Clay. I have watched Dom2K. I like B Souls because I think his presentation style is entertaining. So Michael says you're pretty cool, except when you hate on IT4. When did I hate on Isaiah Thomas? I don't recall that. What's in the, again, I apologize if I'm embarrassing myself. This is cringy. In the Lab, I've never watched that. Who else do you guys say? Andy, yeah, Andy. I really like Andy. Dom2K, I know is a common one. Yeah, Andy. I'm glad a lot of you guys are saying Andy. He's really good. He's almost. I checked the other day. He was at like 124,000 subscribers, and I think he's about to hit 150. It's nuts. Jay the says, have you heard about Trevor Ariza taking a pay cut to join the Golden State Warriors? You might be a little bit of a mind reader, because pay cuts are actually what tomorrow's video is about. I got to finish editing it after the game this evening. I'm not going to fully answer your question because I don't want to spoil the video. No, I think Trevor Ariza is worth more money than the Warriors can be able to give him. I haven't heard that, but I don't think that's a possibility. Legend of Winning. I haven't watched a video, but I've seen his name. I'll have to watch Nick Wright, obviously not the real Nick Wright. Says Jimmy's the goat, but you close. I'll have to watch Jimmy. I haven't watched him. MDJ, I haven't watched him either. Again, I don't watch a lot of these other guys a ton, and it's not because I don't like their videos or because I have anything against them. I kind of want to keep in my own space. Like, if I'm gonna be thinking about topic ideas and things like that, I want to get it from, articles and podcasts and things like that. I don't want to ever feel like I'm copying someone else. Like, if I happen to talk about something similar to someone else, I don't want it to be because I watched their video, right? I've never watched Agent 00, Agent 00. No, I have not. Gaming God, I'm not going to answer that, bud. Let's see. Nathan says, should the NBA incorporate a hard cap? Again, a little bit about what the video tomorrow is about, because obviously Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, they took pay cuts, or Klay Thompson is planning on taking a pay cut. Kevin Durant, both when he signed with the Warriors as well as when he re-signed, he took a bit of a pay cut. Reason being, the team wanted to be able to bring back Iggy, bring back Sean Livingston. But the thing is, the team could have done that, right? Like, they could have given those guys maxes with bird rights and then still re-sign those other guys. There's no hard cap. They just would have had to pay an enormous luxury tax bill. So that Warriors team can stay together realistically as long as they want, as long as the ownership is willing to spend an obnoxious amount of money on luxury tax. So I think a hard cap is probably at some point a good idea. It's considered a soft cap, obviously, because you have the salary cap and then the luxury tax. The Elk says, will Isaiah Thomas get the max contract? He won't. I'm not saying anything bad about IT4. Someone earlier said that apparently that's a thing that I've done. I don't recall that. No, I think he's a mid-level exception guy, and I think if he can get healthy, he can really help someone that needs help offensively, potentially as a sixth man. The NBA God 23 says, if the Warriors blew a 3-0 lead with Steph Curry injured, would LeBron become the GOAT? That is a lot in that. Gosh, do I want to say this? In my mind, if LeBron James won the championship this year, or if he had beaten the Warriors one more time with this Cavs team, not one more game, I mean like win the championship, then I think it would be very tough to make an argument against him as the greatest of all time. You could still do it, but it would be a lot tougher. I just think I personally am already pretty close on that side of the fence in terms of MJ over here, LeBron over here. I'm already pretty close to being over here. I need a little bit more, but I think it's becoming more and more difficult to make an argument against him. And I know that you can do it, and I know that you can keep going in a circle about MJ and LBJ. But for me, I'm leaning closer and closer to Bron. Aiden says, could LeBron win the Finals MVP even if the Cavs lose? I mean, it's possible. I'm sure that's happened, right? I'm sure it's happened. I'll have to look into it. I mean, future, I think you can make an argument either way right now, and I think that says a lot that you can realistically make an argument for LeBron James as the greatest of all time right now. Either way, right? Like, you could make that argument. So I don't think that he necessarily, in some people's minds, has to do anything else to get there, but I think there are other things he can do to make it a lot more difficult to argue against him, being the all-time leading scorer in league history, getting another championship, even if it is with, the Lakers or Philly or something like that. I think it becomes harder and harder the further he closes the championship gap, as well as the further and further above MJ he gets statistically. And again, for some people, it's never going to happen. They're going to go to their grave believing that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, and they're more than welcome to do that. They have every right to do that. They're just never going to change their mind, right? That's fine. But it's becoming more of a conversation. A couple guys asking LeBron to blank a possibility. He's not taking a pay cut. It's not going to happen. At least not one as massive that he would need to be able to go to OKC, the Pacers. I think if I'm ranking them right now, if the Cavs are somewhere all the way down here on the floor, okay, then I would say the Lakers, Philly, like right beneath them, and then there could be a wild card team in there somewhere, potentially via sign and trade. But it's pretty much Lakers and Philly to me. And I think the reason Philly is as close as they are is because they're in the East. And I think if the Lakers were in the East, guaranteed he'd be there right now. And not right now. That would already be what would be happening. Chewy says, where do you rank Kobe Bryant all time? That's a loaded question. I'm not going to answer it because people get upset with me, and also because I'm not Bill Simmons and I can't just like throw out the pyramid right now and just say someone's a top blank player all time. But I would have to look into it. I wouldn't want to give my opinion on stream and everybody destroy me. I think people already got upset enough about the LeBron stuff. Elk says, most underrated player of all time. I don't know, man. There's just so many. There's so many players. I'll think on it. Someone the other day in Twitch stream asked me, and so I'm interested to see what you guys say. Better point guard. Okay, in your opinion, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. I know my answer. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Nash. Okay, a couple people saying Nash. Okay. All right. Again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Whatever you guys want to say, that's fine. Nash. Interesting. I'm scrolling back to see if I missed it here. Christopher Schaefer says, do you think Chris Paul will take a pay cut? He already said it's not going to. I would be beyond shocked. I don't think, and by pay cut, I mean like $10 million. I don't think the Rockets should sign him to a 5-year max because he would be making like $50 million as a 38-year-old. That's ridiculous. But he's not going to take a massive pay cut, no. All right, Arthur says 2-time MVP. Lots of Nashes. Some say Jason Kidd. Doctor, what are you talking about? I've never said anything bad about IT. Nash. Okay. I might have to do a poll on this at some point. Yeah, I mean, my answer is Jason Kidd. But again, I'm biased. Those Nets teams were my favorite. And I also really liked it. It just worked out that Jason Kidd ended up being the head coach of my team as well. $26.99. I swear, when I said some stuff about LeBron, it went down like 4. But, I mean, that site's a little iffy sometimes. Michael, excellent question. He says, this is pretty random. Do you play Fortnite? I do play Fortnite. I play it on Twitch stream, actually, on occasion. You should follow me. Twitch.tv/sporting logically _ in between. That's my shameless plug. That's it. Last one. Yeah, how much time we got? Oh, snap. It is 9 o'clock right now. Also, big shout out, Jack Norton 44. If you're in here, follow me on Twitch. Appreciate it. And Blood with like 18 zeros. Big shout out. We just got to 20,700. I'm gonna take a couple more questions, and then we gotta go. We gotta watch this game. Mehmet says, "Are you any good at Fortnite?" I play on PS4, so I'm not the greatest. Console is tough. I'm getting better. I've literally only played in Season 4. I don't know why. I just never got into it up until Season 4. I'm getting better every day. I'm actually really trying to get better when I'm not doing YouTube stuff. I'm okay. I'm not great, but I'm trying to get better. Jack, thank you. I appreciate it. Doctor says, I know you don't have a schedule. When's the next Twitch stream? I am going to do some stuff tomorrow where I won't be available during the day. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow evening. Sometime maybe after 5 Eastern tomorrow, depending on how my day goes. I can try and keep you guys updated as much as possible on that stuff. But if you guys would want to hang out and come over and see me on Twitch, that would be awesome. Elk says, do live reaction during the game, please. The live reaction stuff, honestly, I've thought about streaming during the game. The problem with that is I have to obviously keep the TV muted because YouTube would get upset, as well as Twitch, if I had the game audio, and it's delayed as well. Like there's, like a 5 or 6 second delay. So it'd be a little bit weird. Success, are you messing with me? Trying to get me to do a shameless plug again? You actually don't know what the Twitch name was. Mr. Wood says, Tucker looks like young gravy. Is that someone I should know? All right. All right, Colin says, and he has said this a couple of times and I have missed it. Colin says, bench 1, cut 1, start 1. Celtic Rondo, Celtic Irving, Celtic Isaiah Thomas. Right now, like 2018 NBA? Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take Rondo and Irving. Rondo on the bench, Irving to start, cut Isaiah Thomas. And it's not because I'm hating on Isaiah Thomas. All right, the game is starting. I've got to run. Doctor, you're killing me. Shameless plug. Follow me on Twitter at SportingLogically. Instagram name on the screen. Twitch name, SportingLogically. Twitch.tv/SportingLogically _ in between. Y'all kill me. Appreciate the 20,701 subscribers. Y'all enjoy the game. I hope to do this a little bit more. And again, if you guys want to come see me on Twitch, it'd be awesome. And appreciate it, guys. Thank you.